Unless they're right over that, because like I looked at all the other dates.
It's 9 o'clock on September 15th, 2025. Welcome to the Commissioners meeting. I'll call this meeting to order. Corey, you are the first one up.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. I have a couple things before you today. The first thing would be that you have a petition to vacate a public way. That's, I think, will be new for all of you to do. But I've taken the liberty and done the work for you here, so hopefully we can make it easy for you. Vacation 01 of 225. We actually have two more coming next month as well. So there must have been a run on these at some point, but Jeff and Judy Hyde have petitioned to vacate a public way that was filed on August 8th. So this petition comes from a related case with our office. We did have down in the town of Miami, we had a complaint that came in about a fence being in a right-of-way. And so we went and took a look, did find that there was a fence here, and per section 212.8.1 of our zoning ordinance, no fences shall be erected on the rights-of-way at all. So it doesn't look like it should be a road here, but it is one. So at that point, we did issue a violation letter, and that started the whole chain of processes here. And then they did file for that. We went back and forth on how they should probably correct that, and then they did file for this vacation. So looking at it here, just pursuant to the Indiana codes, there was a notice of hearing published. You'll see an affidavit of publication in your packets as well. It was published on September 3rd in the Peru Tribune. Also, then I did send a notice to the abutting landowners that was sent via first-class mail and certified mail on September 3rd as well. So they got almost all the same papers that you have in your packet. So their request is to vacate the 66-foot wide section of West Cherry Street located between lots 39, 40, 41 of the original plat of the town of Miami and lots 70, 71, and 72 of Isaac Harrell's addition to the town of Miami. So you can see the two different plat maps here. This one is the original one. Down here are those lots that we're talking about in yellow, and then in between that, the red section is a proposed one, and then Isaac Harrell's over here. If you think about it, the original plat is like right here, and then Isaac Harrell's is like an L that comes in here. So it's just, they would sit right here. Some of that's hard to see. So looking at it overhead, here is the area that we're talking about here. So Cherry Street is developed here, and then undeveloped is supposed to be coming through here. And then would tie into Railroad Street that would come up here. I went and took a look at it on September 4th. So you can see Cherry Street. This would directly extend in here should the town want to develop that. That would be where Cherry Street would continue to move through. So at this point, I'm happy to turn that over to Jeff and Judy and you guys to discuss what you would like to do further. I don't know if you want to explain a little bit more about why you're wanting to vacate it all.
It's kind of hard to understand because this goes back 45 plus years that this actually started. When we originally, I don't want to take up all morning explaining this, but originally when we bought the house from Leo Harrell, he had to put a new septic system in before Board of Health would let him sell. So the septic system, he didn't have room to keep it far enough away from his well. So he got an easement into Cherry Street to put the septic tank and finger system, which it was just that area that we're talking about right there. Well, and the neighbor to the north at the time wanted to put a trailer on his back lot back there for his daughter, so he wanted Cherry Street opened up. Well, with the easement being there, the battle went back and forth, and the commissioner said, we gave the easement and we're going to honor it. We're not going to open that road. If we do, the county will pay for the placement of the septic system. They would move it. So that's the way they left it, that they weren't going to do anything with it. Well, over periods of time there. It's been 2 other times that people have tried to open Cherry Street back up. And it's been denied both times. And now here we are once again with new neighbors to the south of us wanting that fence down because they say that we're blocking their right of way to their property. But if you actually look at it, it's not blocking the right of way to their property. There's a ditch that runs down the north side of Cherry Street there, breaks around on the west side and comes down south. And that's a natural swell plus a drainage ditch that can't be blocked off, is what we were told years ago. So once again, no, I don't, we're just kind of tired of the battle back and forth. We're not taking a right of way away from anybody with this.
There's not a road there. There never has been. On a plat, you look at a plat and it's on the existing plat. Cherry Street has never, ever extended past Elm Street, which is the 190 that runs right in front of our house. And then Cherry Street ends then right there on the east side. I know it's probably difficult on there to understand, but that's never been opened. We put up the fence just to keep everything out, and there were a lot of dogs and animals running loose, and we put up that fence from the corner of our house back, which is all our property. We own 70, 71, and 72. And if you went back behind us, behind our lot 71, you couldn't get across there anyway, because that's where that ditch is at. So there's no way to legally get across there anyway. So it doesn't go anywhere. We've been told by numerous people that Cherry Street will never be opened, and it never has been. Our neighbors on the east side of us, he's lived there since all of his life, and we've lived there since 79, and nothing's ever been back. And his parents lived there before that, back into the 40s, and nothing was ever done with that road. It's not going to be put in. It would cost multitudes of money to put that road in, and there's nowhere for it to go. It would only benefit one person, and I as a taxpayer, I don't want that done. So, and to me, the road's not there, so there's not a right of way. And for our fence, no reason to take it down, in our opinion. We just want for the future it just all wrapped up, and so whoever ends up with their property after us won't have to go through this and won't know what's going on or anything. So we're not really asking. It's not going to hurt anybody. We just wanted to vacate the road and leave our fence there.
The problem with the deal with the fence was it was probably ill-advised back when this originated, after they said they weren't going to open that road and put a street in there. Our attorney advised us, like I said, probably ill-advised us to fence it off. He said, and then if anybody's got a problem, they got to take you to court. That was just the answer.
It was
We
40
got-
years ago.
Yeah, it was 45 plus years ago. So, but that's, like I said, there's been 3 other times that this has went back and forth.
We take care of it, and we always
Yeah.
have.
And Leo Harrell, who owned the house before us, always took care of that section.
And it would look really bad if we did. I mean, we don't have a problem, but if we did not take care of it, it would really be an eyesore. And then we keep the ditch mode there, which is the drainage ditch for the whole town on the south end of Miami.
I have a question for Mark. Is there still a law on the books of adverse possession? If you maintain a property for a number of years, you claim it?
Yes, but you can't adversely possess against a governmental entity, so they can't have an adverse possession claim here.
So since it's a right of way, you already own the property, correct?
We own the property.
It is not a right of way; it is a public way.
It's
Okay.
So it is a
supposed to be a
unimproved
right.
street.
Unimproved street.
So what happened, who owns it after we vacate?
Basically all the property lines meet in the middle, which creates a little bit of an issue here since there's still an alleyway in between some of the parcels.
And the alleyway has just never been vacated. And most of the alleyways out there, I don't know of any of them being vacated.
The section of
alleys.
the alleyway that you're talking about the section between 70 and
There's
71 and 72.
71 and 72,
We
potentially
own
39 and 40 as well on
Yeah,
the north side.
On the north side of the,
That's between Teresa and Jerry, and there's nothing there anyway. You know that we don't care
It just
about
means
that.
that the way that the property lines would move is they all come in the middle, but you still kind of have a gap there, and then they come in to the side, so you'd all kind of own a little bit
yeah,
of that portion in the alley.
Well, we had talked to my husband had went and talked to Jerry Fitzpatrick, who owns 40 and 41, which abuts up on that side of Perry Street, which would then we come up on the south. Our house is right up to the south of it. He told Jeff at that time that he didn't want that small strip of land, so ours would go over and then on over to wherever the landline is there on Jerry's property, and then on Teresa's that comes up on back lot 39. We weren't in touch with her because she doesn't live out there anymore, and she changed her or she got married evidently. So but really what we want to do wouldn't affect her if she didn't want to give up that little corner. That wouldn't matter to us in any way.
but the actual part that we would be dealing with would just be the section of Cherry Street that's on our last lot. Goes out to the middle of where Cherry Street would be.
The part that you fenced in, you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
back-
and
and
then just
behind
back
it.
behind it on the other side of, on the back side of that ditch. Actually, the ditch would fall
In that
into
corner.
part of that. A ditch that runs north and south.
And we're not going to do anything with it. We're not going
Yeah.
to change anything.
There's a small woods there anyway on both sides of that ditch. That ditch is about 6-7 feet tall by 20 feet wide. And it's, like I said, there's a small woods there. It's, this is completely unimproved.
Land
West
what
of
it has been.
that section that we've taken care of is just completely unimproved land. It's, I don't know what else to say about it. Nobody's ever wanted anything to do with it or tried to do anything with it.
Is there ground back behind that somebody else owns?
On back behind it on the north.
Right on the north
There's
side.
nothing straight back from the
That
back.
runs clear back to the railroad.
Okay.
See, Railroad Street, original plat, the Railroad Street came down and right into Cherry Street at that end. I had the picture up there earlier. But once again, now we're in a situation there that Railroad Street through there was never really improved anyway. It's just became a lane and people use it for their driveway.
Okay, that coming off that
So-
once you come around.
Yeah. See, so you got your two situations here. Two things that were supposed to be streets, roads, and never were.
I didn't know if anybody had anything back there. If somebody took her ground back there, you can't lock them out.
No, they wouldn't be.
They
No,
can.
anything north of Cherry Street. No,
Okay.
There's
that would be.
Railroad Street.
So that's what I was just
Over
explaining.
there on that side. It goes back to their property.
Okay.
They've got a house back there that's Teresa's that she rents out evidently. You go back to it, it's by the bicycle trail. There's a lane back there to it by the bicycle.
Alongside it.
Yeah. It wouldn't be landlocking anybody.
That would be the biggest thing you
Yeah,
come up against.
right.
No,
No.
there's
That's
anybody
I
that
just
owns
checked.
anybody that owns any property with this here, the section we're talking about being vacated, would not be landlocked.
No.
They have access, anybody owning property adjacent, they've got access to it from a road.
And then there's nothing else back there. It runs back to where the railroad used to be.
Or do you see any issues with this?
You do still have those lots back behind. Like specifically looking at this here. This now will now have some access to it. I don't know where they would get their access off of that. And then you have, this would be that railroad street that's not unimproved right now. And then you have these lots back here still.
Because if you're talking about
The
there,
ones to the south of us and to the west that you're talking about, Corey.
Yep.
Inglesby, is that what you're talking
Yep.
about? Inglesby owns the land to the south of us. They bought that property with the piece of property that's behind our lot 72. They bought all of that as one piece together. They already have access to that property back there. And from their property due south of us, if they go back there now on the piece that's behind our 72. They go back there now all the time anyway. Even if this was vacated or open, they can't get to their property from ours because that ditch, that drainage ditch can't be closed. Miami would be flooded if that drainage ditch were closed, and you can't get from there to their property without crossing our property because we own 70, 71, and 72. The 72 is back behind that. So they could not get to their property that's behind ours without going across our property, and we're not giving them access to do that.
this
So
is
they
the same-
get to it from their own property.
this is just about the same situation that we had originally with Jim Fuel. When we first bought out there, this all got started. He wanted to put that trailer on that back lot for his daughter, which that whole area back there is a floodplain.
It's swampland, so really it shouldn't be
So-
put back there anyway.
So, and that was his argument. He basically wanted the county to put that street in so his daughter would have a private drive back to her trailer. And the commissioners at the same time were even saying, if he wanted to do that, then he used his front property and put the easement there back to that land. So they're not landlocked.
Yeah,
They've got access to that property
they just
without
want a
without
private
the
drive
county,
put
without the
back
county
there.
having to supply it. That's the whole situation in a nutshell. And they were told by his office too, explained to them that, look, you've got room right here on both sides of your house. That if you want access to that property, it's there. Or if you sell that property, you have to provide the easement to the buyer.
From your property.
You know, it's not the county's responsibility to do that. If you're selling that section of land,
And it would cost the county tons of money to put a road on Cherry Street and close that ditch. And, so, and all it would be doing would be helping one person.
And your septic is in this right away.
well, it was, and then they brought the new
Oh,
And-
system out to Miami.
But it's still in that.
But
The
the
finger
the grinder
or the
system
grinder,
and
yeah.
my drain out to the grinder system still runs across Cherry Street. That
It's
section of Cherry Street.
It's still in that area.
Any objections to it?
Or do you see an objection to it, or
Well, that's my place to say.
Mark? You-
The only issue I have is that you have part of Cherry Street that's still over here that's not vacated, so you're kind of separate breaking Cherry Street, even though it's unimproved. There's still that public way. I really wish that all the alleys and the rest of Cherry Street would be vacated too. But if nobody else that's a surrounding property owner is objecting, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I think maybe we as the commissioners look at vacating the rest of it.
And we're not opposed to that alley on our part, it being vacated, because we own on lots on both sides of it. So it wouldn't do anything to us if you want to vacate that alley, we don't have an issue with that.
Sir, did you have a comment?
I got a few questions to ask you over this deal. My name is Jerry Fitzpatrick. I own the 2 lots to the north of the adjoining their properties. Another gentleman couldn't make it today. Had a question. He says, if they're going to close this portion Cherry Street, close Cherry Street. Close it from Elm Street or to the back, which has never been used. Like all these small towns, the map doesn't show where things really are anymore. Okay, it's just like in this portion they're wanting to close, they got a building sitting in the middle of it you can't see on the map because it's in that east.
It's a shame.
I don't care. To be honest with you, I don't care whether they close it, they don't close it. It's never going to be open. There's a Duke Energy line that runs right down through there that has easement to it that they're going to have access to anyhow. The ditch that he's talking about, according to your map, it looks like the ditch is totally on me. And if you close it and I gain half that property, that means I'm thinking that I'm going to have to pay taxes on that 33 foot that is actually in their yard. So I don't want to pay taxes on something I don't have any easement to. You know, I can't maintain this property if their fence is there. And I don't personally, I say leave it alone. You know, the town of Miami was set up to where there's a street or an alley on all 4 sides of every 2 lots. Just like they're talking about this road that doesn't exist. It's on the map, but it doesn't exist. There's an alley that runs right up through the middle of their 2 lots. You come off, if you was to come off Walnut Street, no, or going south, there's an alley behind the church that goes through there. There's another alley on the other side that goes up through there. Now, all these alleys have never been open, and they're never going to get used, you know? So it just falls back on what are we going to do? We're going to change the actual map of where the property lines actually are running.
Yes.
Okay, if we do that, you know, there's houses in the middle of the streets throughout town. There's garages in the middle of the streets. Their one building that in the portions they're trying to close is in the middle of this street. As far as their finger system, it doesn't exist. He said something about the sewage lines. The sewage lines are all on public easements. The grinder stations are on public easements. Reason I know that is I maintain the sewage system in Miami. At the time it was formed, I was on the board. I am no longer on the board. But they were going to line bore down through there, putting these lines in. So, whoa, you can't. well, we're on this easement. And I said, yeah, but you're gonna go through my basement. You know, people's houses are this far off property lines throughout town. And Poplar Street, which is the east side of Miami, runs north and south. It runs clear to that open field. It's never been open. It's never going to be. Cherry Street, he's talking about going to the west. If you Cherry Street goes to the east past Poplar Street legally. No. So I say, personally, I say leave it alone. You know, I don't care if they do close it. Okay, I'll gain 33 foot. That they're fenced in the way as far as the individual. You want to keep mowing it, but I don't want to have to pay taxes on property that I can't gain access to.
If you don't want that 33 feet, which you told Jeff that you didn't, we'll take it and pay tax on it. And then you don't have to worry about coming across the ditch to do anything, which you don't anyway. We take care of it. And we'll continue to do that our whole life, which we have done for almost the past 50 years.
Then they'll have to have a survey off in that way.
Yes, we understand that. We were told that we would have to have that resurveyed. And what we would have to do is get whatever we'd have to get from Jerry,
Well-
which would define, what his part of Cherry Street was. If he wanted to render that, we'd have it resurveyed and added to our property.
Well, you guys know that. I mean,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
take
we
it,
were-
it's going to be.
We were told that.
That
We
way.
understood that, and I told Jerry that when I talked to him.
And as far as the utility company coming in or anything, they've not done it that way anyway. They come down.
Holes back in there.
Yes.
They got an easement. They do have a right of way to get back there. They got to.
They're back behind ours anyway, Harry. They're on that hill and the old Inn Urban. That's how they come to it always. And
I'm
they've
just
only
saying, if they
yeah.
can't get in through
Yeah.
that way
They-
for some reason,
they
they're going
can't.
to come in that alley.
And they've only done it 1 or 2 times in the 50 years we've lived there.
They still. Duke Energy comes clear east.
That's not through utilities.
No,
Ours is through utilities.
that is a Duke Energy line.
Which one?
The one that comes through the edge of my property.
Out by the road?
It goes east and west.
I know Duke Energy's out there too.
Duke Energy,
Right.
that is the Duke Energy line. No, Duke Energy does not supply power to Miami, but they do have a power line that runs through there.
Yeah.
They will, if they had to get to the one pole, it's on the,
It's back behind there, right?
it's in between me and you. There's a pole, that line comes clear to Elm Street, across there, back from the railroad track. There is poles in that section alongside the edge of my property. Now, whether it's on my property or not, it don't matter.
You mean back
That
behind yours,
ditch, that
Terry?
ditch that you're talking about, the poles are on the north side of that ditch. So if they wanted to go down through there, they're gonna have to be up onto this road easement because they can't put their truck down in that ditch. Or they have to be up on the south side of that ditch and stretch across to get to them poles if they had to. Now, granted, they haven't had to, but you never know.
Sorry.
So even if wherever the easement is, vacating this public way isn't going to vacate that easement. So if they need to get somewhere, let's say they need to get through where this public way would have been if we vacate it, Duke still has the right to go through their what might be their property to get there. So that power lines aren't really going to affect what happens. You're just going to have to live with that. Maybe Duke comes in and says, you need to move your fence so that we can get into our easement.
And that's never happened in 50 years.
Right. Then you're just taking the risk that
Yeah.
next year that does happen,
Well,
and then you have to move your
that
fence.
happens and we realize,
Yeah.
yes, we have to accommodate.
Because we do have a lane, a road that goes back behind our property on the south side of the property. And if necessary, we would let them go back there.
Yeah. And so, Mr. Fitzpatrick, am I hearing, are you wanting your property to move to the center, or are you wanting your property line to stay basically where it is?
I don't wanna pay property taxes on property I can't use,
And
I
so,
don't have access to. I don't care.
well, basically, in a situation like this, the law presumes all the property lines meet the center. But if you say you don't want it, then we can write our ordinance to say yours doesn't move. And then they, instead of meeting in the middle, they get the entire portion between your two lots or your lots.
I have a question. I have to go. My name is Susan Fitzpatrick, Jerry's daughter. I have
Name is also on this other property.
um, two questions. The first drop is who owns the building that's in the middle of the Cherry Street and the alley that's shown on the picture, and who's paying taxes? That's the first question. I would like the group to tell me.
Guessing that they own it, and there's probably, I don't know if there's personal property taxes paid on their tax statement for it or not.
This is your building, right?
Is that our shed?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, yes, that was a temporary. We had to move it in a divorce case. We had to move it from north of Miami. It's not on a permanent foundation, it's on a temporary foundation. And basically it's on
Part of the alley.
part of the Cherry Street and the alley that would be vacated to our property.
And then we would pay taxes on it.
And yes, I'm not, I've been taking care of this for years and years and years. I got no objections to paying the taxes on it. I just want it ended. I mean, we keep going through this. I said this is probably the fourth or fifth time that we've been down this road with different people. It has to come to some resolution.
Wouldn't property owners already be paying taxes on this? Don't they go to the center of the road?
No, not here.
Really?
That I don't think.
The lots were laid out so that it's essentially, they don't go to the center road.
So that portion never gets taxed to anybody.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
What
What was your next question?
Next question is if we're going to split it and not share or not give them the property, because I'm speaking for my dad at this time, because I'm saying no, don't give them everything. We would at least want half. Will I pay half of the taxes on that building?
I don't know. It could all be assessed to them still.
If it's on your property, if it's their building, it would have to be moved.
Even if you did have it, Susan, I don't think it goes past.
That's where they would
That-
draw up the lines.
Yeah,
The third question, I'm going to just be very front. I can't be here all day. If we was to split the whole entire Cherry Street with all property owners down the middle and all the trees that goes past, which we don't know what lot numbers they are, 70, 71, 72, 39 to 41, whatever those numbers are. Is the county going to make the property owners responsible for cleaning up the high weeds and clean up like they're doing all the whole entire rest of the town?
I think the property owners would likely be responsible for everything except for what's in a regulated drain, and then the drainage board could still have the right to go through.
So if it
Clean that up.
becomes property, those property owners would be responsible for cleaning up all of those trees and anything over a weed violation, correct?
If there is one.
those trees have always been there.
Doesn't matter. And the last thing I'd like to say is thank you very much for your time. I appreciate what you do as the group, and I'm invested because if my dad can't mow it, I'm gonna have to go in their fence to mow. And the last time our dog got let loose, it went in their pool, and I rescued it. And I don't want to have to go in their pool or fence again. But if I have to mow inside their fence because they're no longer living, My dad's no longer living. Sorry to say, I can no longer be living. But the next person, the next two property owners will have to have a survey at the time of sale, and they're gonna fight it out. I would like it resolved now.
Well, that's why we're saying that too, because this has already been going on 50 years and we've been up here like 4 times. When the septic system was there and everything, it should have been closed, but it wasn't. And, but like right now, I understand what Susan is saying, but we've taken care of it even with our fence, and that was to keep dogs and kids and whoever, whatever, out of there, and we've maintained it, which we will continue to do. But after our death, we don't want some young kids to come in and go through this like we've done for years, and none of them know what's going on or nothing, like was done to us. Because when we bought it in '79, we didn't know there was going to be an issue there. When they gave Harold's the easement to put the septic system out there, it should have been closed at that time, in my opinion. And in my opinion, there is no road there. There's not, if there's no road there, there's no right of way there. That's was the complaint, that halfway back from the road, the fence just goes from our corner of the house over to the ditch, which you can see in that one picture. And then it goes like there. Then it goes around the back. That and that
This might be a better picture for you.
yeah, that, well, the other one shows it better, Corey. Right there. I don't think that would be on, if they wanted half of that property. I don't think it would be, but even if it is, if they want it, that can be moved. We made it to where it can be moved when we put it there. Most of the things in Miami that's on an alley or anything, most of them can't be moved. I mean they can, but it would be considerable. We don't want to move it, but we would if we needed to. But our fence goes over there just from the edge of the house. So from the road to their back is open. If I don't know what they would do with that little strip, but I mean that's up to them. But if whatever we get, if anything, we'll pay taxes on it.
I have another question. If the street stayed open and you're standing in the middle of the street with this visual, your pool, your fence, your barn is all in the street.
Our pool is not.
But what I'm saying is when you look at it visually, just by standing in the middle, we need solution. We need answers. We need the county to make a decision, because I will have to deal with them later. We don't want to do that. I'm being nice about it. But if they need to move their fence and their temporary barn, that's for the county to decide, not for me to decide as a resident.
Well, that's what I was sitting here thinking. If we would move forward to vacate this, you understand that if you do a survey and some of your fence in that building is across the property line, it has to be moved.
And they do want it. Yes, we do understand that. Because but if we do that, then they're going to be required to come over there and mow it and take care of it from the road back. See, that's where I'm saying is, even if it were closed behind us, right behind that shed and those trees, then when you come over to the south, that doesn't show our last lot there. That's why I'm saying is right behind that barn is the fence, and then there's where that ditch is at. So even if it were opened, you come over here, you can't go anywhere anyway, because that's our property. So if that were moved, you can't go across it. That ditch and everything is there. Jeff had went and talked to Jerry previous to coming up here. At that time, he told us he didn't want anything to do with it.
There's not gonna be a,
That was only because the dog was in the pool. Sorry.
so if this is vacated, we're not gonna start a community fight, correct?
No, we just want it finalized.
So does he want to give it up or not?
No, he does not want to give you the property.
He does not.
You have to split it if they're going to close the street.
So then you're willing to give it?
Close the whole
They'll have to
thing,
close it.
Yes.
even what's not proposed.
Can't do that unless we advertise that certain section. Give additional property owners notice.
Managed to put this on the table until.
Yeah, you could.
All up with a solution. In the meeting.
That one's pretty okay.
Also, I'd like to talk about the alleys, if we have to do anything. Show them that.
We're not addressing the alleys, correct?
But that was not in the original petition. It would be, I would think, smart to think about those as well.
I'll make a motion to table this to consider adding the rest of Cherry Street and also giving us a time to maybe work out a little bit more details.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you first said, Mark.
I'm making a motion to table this for now so that we can consider vacating all of Cherry Street at the same time and also give us a chance to talk about these alleys and help come up with a solution for the two of you that everybody's happy with. Which,
Just vacate them all.
well, we'll consider everything. I never thought about the alleyway and how that might. But we can't do all of Cherry Street today because we haven't advertised. So if we table this, we'll come back to consider vacating all of Cherry Street and how to handle the alleys and hopefully have a chance to help you two come up with a solution that you're both okay with. I'm not gonna say happy because this is that you're both willing to say okay.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to table this petition to vacate the public way until we have more information and possibly do the whole thing all at once. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. All right.
When can it be advertised? When can we readdress this?
We're not gonna be here.
I just have to have 10 days
Make
notice in the
contact.
newspaper and 10 days, at least 10 days ahead of time to get the other landowners notice.
Probably looking at your second October meeting. But if they're not going to be here, then we can continue it to maybe the 1st November or 2nd November meeting.
When will we be back?
The 24th of October. So it wouldn't be prior to that meeting. So it'd be necessary. We wouldn't be back till November.
Is there any chance that we could have the meeting in the evening time so other residents could attend? No. Just saying, there's a lot of people that couldn't attend today's meeting because.
Yeah, I understand that. Probably not, but can they share? Can they contact you if they have their complaints?
Yeah, and
They can contact Corey and planning.
I would suggest they file written complaints. So email or write Corey a letter.
Is that all you have?
no, I have 2 contracts that need
Oh,
signed.
yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys. The first contract would be for the demolition service for a house in the town of Miami. Speaking of, we had advertised as Planning Commission, and Planning Commission chose Wade Ames and Son Demolition and Excavation to demolish that house out there. And so I just need that signed. This
Yeah.
point.
already good.
Correct. Yeah.
Make a motion, we. So moved.
Second.
Yeah.
So there's been a motion and a second to sign a demolition contract for property in Miami for $6,800. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Did you guys know that address in Miami? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the address for that you're speaking of.
That's a little yellow house in the corner of Poplar and Reed Street.
Okay, thank you.
The other contract I have, Plan Commission has been working the last couple months to advertise, and we've gone through to update our comprehensive plan. It's been quite a while since we've done that, and so we advertised, have reviewed all of the applicants. I think we had 8 submissions of companies who were interested in updating that, and we did choose Taylor, Cipher, and Williams Design Group out of Indy, I believe, who we'll be updating our comprehensive plan over the next 10 to 12 months. And so I just have their contract here to sign so that we can get moving on that. That contract was $58,500. And that money's already started in our budget for that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to sign the contract with,
Williams.
Taylor, Cipher, Williams, do comprehensive plan. All in favor, say aye.
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 I think that's the last thing I had for you today.
Aaron, let me know. Good morning.
Okay, I have a couple of things to bring up today. First, it's time for the reassessment contract to be selected again, or the process starting. So, Mark, I know you haven't been here before this. We do this every 4 years. It's a cyclical reassessment where each year we do a quarter of the county. And we reassess those properties. So it's going to be advertised September 17th and 24th, with the bids due October 3rd at 3:30, and then October 6th at 9 o'clock. Then we'll open the bids here, and then October 20th we will select the vendor then at that time. Okay, and then I wanted to also bring up that I'm wanting to hire somebody new for our office. I'm going to retire in April. And so I'm wanting to get somebody in, because to work in our office, you have to be a level 2. And so I want to give them time to get their level 1 and level 2 certifications and more training before I leave. And we do have an extra position in our budget already that would cover the rest of this year and the first of next year before I leave. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about what's going on, okay?
Appreciate that.
Somebody just tell us exactly what she just said.
I'm sorry, I never turned the PA on. I'm sorry.
Room's like down.
Okay, can you hear me now? Mr. Wilbur?
You could go back to new hire.
We're going to be hiring somebody for the office. I'm retiring in April, and so this will give them time to get their level 1 and level 2 before I'm out in April. And so we'll be looking at them, and then we'll do a reassessment contract. There'll be it'll be advertised September 17th and 24th, and then the bids are due October 3rd. We'll open them October 6th, and then vendor selected October 20th. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about not turning the VA on. Kind of slipped my mind. Jim,
Good morning. I just have for you a quote that is for Thomas Scott, councilman, had asked for a laptop. I told him I would bring that before you. And he did actually say, hey, do I need to get my own or, do I bring it to they've got the, well, if it's for the county, if it's definitely going to be on the secured network, I'd prefer that we buy it and that way we can support it and put the correct security on it. So that is for 1,080 to get him a laptop and everything he needs for that.
I move we allow.
been a motion and a second to purchase a laptop computer for Thomas Scott for council use. All in favor, say aye.
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 Right.
I do have a question, since you're here. Am I supposed, whoops, I'm supposed to be putting that accepting note. Okay. I'm not an IT guy, so thank you.
Yep, if you get something out for me, we'll get that ordered. Thank you very much.
All right, Janice.
Morning. Oh, Lord. We can vacate all them alleys. I'd like that. They're just a mess, but you got power going down, so they'll still have to have an easement. I have a resident in Hidden Hills that would like to have an ordinance. There is no speed limit signs in that place. She'd like to have a speed limit put in. When it's done on it. Probably 30, I don't know, but is there any in subdivisions? Is it gotta be 25 or is 30,
State that again.
is there, on that, like subdivision, the housing additions, is there a certain speed limit?
Don't think there's a certain one set, but we just have a traffic study to figure out what they should be.
Traffic study and engineering.
I didn't know whether we could just go 30 mile an hour without doing all that.
I don't think so. I think you have to, anytime you even set a speed limit, you have to have a traffic study.
See if we can get it. See if we can get it through Purdue LTAP, and that way it would be free. Otherwise, we'll be paying our engineering firm to do it.
Are we just gonna do it one sign as you come in, all roads 30 or 25, not have to put speed limit over the whole subdivision? But we'll check into that then. That's all I got.
Derek, what's your policy? What's your policy on a subdivision speed limit if it's not posted?
In subdivisions where there really isn't too much of a policy. I mean, this is like a county road, I suppose, if something's not posted. Like on a county road, the speed limit would be 55 if it's not posted. But you're obviously not going to do that in subdivision. There have been, I think, one or two, I can't specifically tell you exactly where. I think I've probably seen most of the time you see maybe, if you see one, it's probably not over 20, 25 normally. Normally, rarely do we have an issue in subdivisions. However, some people, think that somebody goes too fast or they have an issue with a certain individual or whatever. And if we get a complaint on that, which is very rare, a lot of times what we'll try to do is hit that area, and if we come across that person, we have ourselves a little discussion with them, and then things We don't normally have additional issues, but we've not really had to come across that issue too much.
So you haven't gotten any complaints about the Hidden Hills addition?
Not
She
to
was-
my knowledge, no. I haven't heard of any now.
She was
I'm
just,
not saying there hadn't been, but yeah, I just haven't heard of any.
a lot of people walk out there. I mean, so they, you know, some of them, or they're driving too fast, or they think they're driving. And some of those roads out there in that house edition are pretty a long stretch. They're not real short, so they could get up pretty quick.
Well, I'm not opposed to posting a speed limit, but then again, if once you do that, then someone's gonna be expected to police it, correct?
Yeah, no, I mean, we hit subdivisions, you know, anytime, but there's no good way to control that. You can have speed limit signs up there and you can have them, you know, officially posted. People don't exactly read signs. You know, so I mean, you can do that, but is it going to help anything? And there's no really good place to set for us to set in there, you know, and do anything. And if you're going to see a marked car, it's not going to happen. You know, if they want to see a marked car, and we can set a car in there, but people aren't going to speed if there's a marked car in there. It's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind thing. They don't see a car, they choose to go over the speed limit if there is one. But normally, like I say, normally we don't have too much of an issue with that.
Like,
There is an issue increasing out there. Kids are getting on the streets with motorized, whatever, or side by sides, motorbikes, whatever, racing up and down the streets. I have a friend who lives out there. I don't know if she's the one that reported it or not, but it's constant and it's increasing and it's very dangerous, like you say, for somebody walking along sidewalk. So we need to address this issue.
So the phone call came through on my desk and I called her back and that was exactly the reason. She said the increase, they built numerous houses and they have more children. So,
what else have to,
the next thing we have is an interlocal agreement between Miami County / Highway Department and Miami County Economic Development Authority. And this was actually written by our attorney. We sent him the information. So we know it's a good agreement right off the bat. So it's damages that were caused to Eel River Cemetery Road due to the water and gas line installed connected to Silo Concert Development. Miami County is willing to repair the damage to Eel River Cemetery Road, and Makita is willing to reimburse the county for the cost of repair connected to the water and the gas line installation. The amount is $105,522.50. Makita shall pay the compensation to the county in full before December 31st, 2027. And we met with Jim out there a few months ago, and he agreed that he could pay it over a period at least 2 years, but he needed money. So, and we have the money in, I even brought that, wheel tax. Got 107,000 set back. So we have a number running with chip and seal this year. So we'll use that money to pay for this. We're also doing a portion of the road. Perry's going to go ahead and have 100 North and Eel River Cemetery Road. We're going to
End of it, because this silo stopped so far back off 31. We're gonna pave that. I'm going ahead and pave out the 31 and probably do 100 north from Eel River Cemetery Road down towards 24.
and
So that way it will be all done.
and we'll be paying for that. And of course, there would be no reimbursement on that because that is our portion. And we do have the funds to do this, and it will be done this year because it is pretty hard out there, if you've heard. Most of you have heard.
Everybody's been out there.
I think Mark drove out there, didn't you? I think
I have not recently.
it's pretty hard. So
But they're supposed to start on that Maybe October 27th.
So if you agree to that, we have, they've already had their board meeting as Makita did, and, they've already approved the repayment of that. If you agree with that, I have, for your portion to sign and to be attest. Now, Annette, I see you're here. Do you want to sign
I
it?
can't, you want me to? Be glad
But they
to.
got approved here.
I'll move to approve it.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion, a second to approve the just compensation for Eel River Road, Cemetery Road. So all in favor, say aye.
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 You want to sign it now?
While you're signing that, I have something else.
All right.
We'll figure that out.
The next thing, if you recall, I think it's been a couple weeks ago, we had a statement of basis for just compensation. And that was for a right of way, either acquisition or temporary for, and this is actually Bridge 144, 1050 East. So I got 3 more parcels. So we've already signed 4, and this should be the last 3, I hope. And so that's what this is. And I will just so for the residents so they know. A statement of basis for just compensation is a written document that explains how a government agency calculates its offer to pay for private property is taken for public use. Simplified, it's the government's justification for its offer, providing a detailed breakdown of the property's appraised value. So everybody in the community knows what this is for. So we have parcel number 2, 1050 East. And this is both permanent and temporary, and it's in the amount of $3,900. Parcel number 3, it's all permanent, $1,150. And the last parcel number 4 is $1,000, and it's all permanent. If you agree to that, and they'll start the approval on that, if that's okay.
It would be a total of $6,050.
Yes, it would be.
So moved.
Second.
And there's been a motion and a second to approve purchasing the land, 3 parcels for $6,050. What bridge number? 140.
160, wait a minute, 144.
144. All in favor, say aye.
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 And Fred, you're the only one that has to sign this since you have the authority on this one. And just to let you know, on Bridge 164, that should be advertised on NDOT. I'm looking for it to be advertised hopefully Wednesday. And that is Eel River, over Eel River, Mexico Road. And that would be for bridge design and right of way. That's a 2030 project. However, we did meet with some engineering firms because they're looking to go in for a bid. That is something that it's a overlay and then it was paint ends, deck ends, correct? So sometimes the state will push that ahead, which is kind of hard hope, maybe 2 years ahead. So that would be, we'd want to make sure we have that money there. That'll be a 80-20. And that, I think that was a little over $1 million, that bridge. And that actually happened to on Bridge 501, which is the Wayne Street wall. That got pushed 2 years ahead. And so anytime we can push these bridges ahead, we want to do that because it's cheaper. Well, not that it's cheap to begin with. Appreciate your time and thank you.
Guys got anything tonight?
I don't think so. I was contacted by Shirley Mall to see if they could put up something on the courthouse lawn this week for Constitution Week. So I just need a motion. We will.
I so move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve permission for Constitution Week on the lawn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And the last meeting, I think it was the last meeting, there was talk about the homeless situation. Have you looked into that? Are we, because there's confusion of the bridge out here that people are staying under, but it's in the city's jurisdiction, not the county's jurisdiction, other than the bridge itself is county.
Still think within the city limits, it's the city's ordinances that would apply to how those people act and where they can go. Even if we said we want them under the bridge, the city I think, has the power to say, no, you can't live under a bridge. If the county wants to do anything, I have a few good examples of how to force them to move property without criminalizing essentially being homeless and trying to fine them or give them a misdemeanor or anything.
But there's no ordinance or anything we need to look at for.
Not with, I mean, we can put one in place within the county if you want to, but anything outside or within the city limits, I don't think we have authority to do an ordinance. We as property owner, I mean, we're essentially a property owner is what it is.
Fred, I'll just share, I did some research and there is no city ordinance to deal with that. I spoke to the city police chief and he said he would not go on county property, even though it was within the city, to, remove the homeless, or take care of any, crime along there. So, I've got an ordinance that I'm going to recommend for the mayor to take a look at. But you had mentioned last time about wanting the city and the county to have, ordinances that are very similar. So, anyway,
If once that gets ironed out with the mayor, if you want to have Dustin send that to me, we can look at it and think about adopting it as well.
I kind of hope that we would be making a decision on the EMS, but there's been a request that we have a meeting with both hospitals before we make our final decision. So we're going to put that decision off. Mark, do you have anything for us?
I don't have anything.
Right. I had a question for Mark, and then I brought some spreadsheets out here. I've been working with the State Board of Accounts and with Mark in our insurance agency. On when we went back and we started balancing all the insurance claims and stuff. Excuse me, I got a problem with my throat. We found some discrepancies and some overpayments. And Marcy can hand you down those sheets. I'm not gonna leave them out. They do have names on them, so I'm gonna kind of keep those to ourselves at the moment. But what we've got is we found that there was a total loss that we overpaid insurance between 16 and 24 of $83,000. Sorry, $86,790. And I've been working with Mark and the insurance to see how we could recoup them out. We have already worked with the insurance company and they was able to give us back $23,629.72. So we're just still at a loss of $63,000, a little over $63,000. And so Mark was going to work with the insurance company, and I didn't know, have you had a chance to talk with Mike to find out? I know there's nothing that we could, there was no policy that would recoup that, and the bonds wouldn't cover it.
I have not talked to Mike yet. I haven't gone through the insurance contract and all the information. I haven't gone through all of it yet to see is there anything additional we would be able to try to force the insurance company to pay us back first, and then see what we would get after that.
Okay, well, but the State Board of Accounts has said for transparency purposes, I needed to inform you guys what's going on. That we've been working with Mark for a few months on this in the insurance company. So again, just knowledge for later on, and so hope we can get everything claimed back to the insurance company.
Yep.
Mhm.
So we have minutes payroll and fund. Been a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Fund. I have a claim.
We pay for the claims.
Been a motion and a second to approve the claims. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And payroll.
Payroll.
Been a motion and a second to approve the payroll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Herb, did you have something this morning? Do not, Sheriff?
Just real quick, last meeting I talked to you about the removal of the island in front of the sheriff's office out there, and this is more of a breakdown. I got this from Rick. He had talked to House Settler Concrete. This is we will do the removal part of it. I talked to Kerry this morning that extra $500 in there for the removal of stuff for a trailer, renting a trailer and whatnot. Won't need to be a part of that. Kerry agreed to, if you folks want to go ahead with this, they said they would haul the stuff out for us, whatnot. Concrete is very expensive right now. And you look at the rebar and the stone and everything, haul it in and have the labor to do everything. That was the cost right there at 5,000 to do the entire job. And again, what's going on? This is filling with water when we get heavy rains or whatever, especially like the winter time when snow melts or whatnot or freezes, gets underneath the other existing concrete around it, raising things up. And we're gonna, if we don't do something with this, it's gonna be a bigger mess now. So it's whatever you folks want to do. We'll go either way on it. But Rick suggested it's something that really needs to be looked into. So it's up to you.
Does it cause the concrete to be uneven? Is it a
Yeah,
safety, it's
yeah.
a safety
It
issue?
raises up as far as probably about 4 inches concrete around it. And we already had the concrete around where the flagpole is, so that had to be replaced. So
If we allow, just as inexpensive as you can do it, Tim.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, let's.
Are there funds? Available?
Do you have funds available?
I don't. It's your building. We're doing the labor part of it as far as removal, and that kind of thing. And the county highway will furnish the truck for us. So we're trying to cut corners as much as possible. So it's up to you.
We have the fund to.
You get off Fred's budget.
I didn't let me-
So we can take it out of Fred's.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's good.
We can look into it.
There's several funds.
We will make a motion.
We did.
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to do the concrete work in front of the sheriff's department for 5,000, and we will figure out where those funds are coming from. and then you can move forward.
Thank you.
Did you vote?
Mhm.
Did you vote?
Oh, yeah, probably ought to vote. Thank you.
Oh,
All in favor, say aye.
sure.
Aye. Good point. Oh, Elaine,
Ready for public comment?
let's have public comment.
Okay, great. It would be helpful, Annette, if you could add a line on the agenda for public comment. That way, people who are looking at the agenda know that they have an opportunity to speak. I obviously know after many years of attending these meetings that I can't. For the commissioners, I have a question. I was told that you all would be receiving a letter from the museum. Did you recently? And is that going to be public information?
I'm still looking through it myself to see what it's about. So I didn't know if there was anything to address yet or not.
Well, but will that be addressed from the public?
I was not going to do it in public, but that's kind of up to Brenda too. So,
I have no problem with it.
all right. So we've had a request from the museum to have Brenda removed from the museum board and appoint Mark, and he is considering whether he wants to take that on.
And I would like to explain, I have had issues ever since the former director had her legal issues. When she was still there's several issues. When she was still there, she accepted a huge display, which is beautiful, but it is a New Jersey circus. It says New Jersey all over it. It shouldn't be there. It should be at the Hall of Fame. That's all circuses. But the big issue I have with them putting it there, they took all of the farm equipment and everything to do with early farming in Miami County, the actual artifacts, our citizens donated. They took them to the basement, and that's where they are, so they could have that New Jersey circus. Okay. I have a problem with that. They're the caretakers of all Miami County citizens' treasures from their family. Okay. The second thing that we have discussed, we have a lease. The commissioners have a lease with the Historical Society. It's a 99-year lease. It was, let me see what date they signed it. Oh, it was recorded on 11/29 of 2011. I was the recorder, and I encouraged them at that time to record this document. Within this document, there are several different things required by the museum, the Historical Society. Commissioners agreed to provide at the expense of Miami County, subject to duly approved appropriations, a duly qualified curator, assistant curator, and janitor staff, subject to their approval to service such museum once transferred by commissioners to society. So right now, we're supposed to be in charge of that. At some point, the commissioners they were county employees. At some point, they turned them over to the Historical Society. In order to get the society back on track, they need to hire a curator and an assistant curator, because they do know how to protect, how to handle any of the artifacts, and they know what can be accessioned and deaccessioned, and we would have never had that on the third floor and our artifacts in the basement if a duly qualified curator was there. That's been the beef. They do not want to hire a curator. They say they want to keep a director. Well, we've lived through directors, and it didn't work out so well, because it turns it almost into nothing but a gigantic antique store, basically. And that's not what that was intended. I was a recorder when they did this, and I watched them take things out of this museum on the 4th floor because they had to take the window out to get artifacts moved across the street. They also took it from the bottom of the library, Peterball Museum. They took from there. And Marsha Ross gave the county that building with her real estate agent. And I know that family is not happy about what's going on. They feel like some of their artifacts they left there is not being properly. So that's the beef. I expect them to, how can they expect the county to fund them? And there's some of the county council that does not want to fund them. How can they expect the county to fund them if they're not going to abide by a legal document? And they're not. We almost had them on track, and then there was a shakeup over there again, and the ones that are there now absolutely do not want to hire a curator. So yes, I have an issue with that. But to tell you the truth, I'm the best advocate for Miami County citizens and the historical society we've got, because I've been involved in that for well over 30 years. And I've been through many curators and a couple of administrators, or whatever they call them, and I know the difference. That place thrives and shines when you have a professional taking care of it.
I have a question for you, Brenda.
Okay.
What is the present pay, the proposed pay for the director?
The director, as far as I know, makes $54,000 right now. We didn't even pay our last curator that much. So, you know, and they want to pay her more. And I've heard they want to send her to school to be a curator. Takes a college degree, either in museum science or history or both, or, you know, so we're talking, they're not going to comply with this agreement at all. That's just the way it looks to me.
Well, I have heard, this is why I'm bringing it to this meeting, that there was a proposal to increase her salary to $100,000.
I don't know. They're probably trying to, because I don't know. I don't know. My opinion, and I like Bev, she's a good girl. She really did a great job as the archivist. She really did. But I do have a problem with her being paid $54,000. There's people in this building who have educations on things in their offices and don't make $54,000. So
Thank you. Another question I had for the Board of Commissioners was that, are you aware that Tuesday evening, Eddie Berry from Tobion is scheduled on the County Council agenda to speak?
Well, I was
No.
not aware.
Well, several people have been totally surprised to see that on the agenda. We're not clear. I'd like an explanation from the auditor's office, please, how it did get on the agenda and how by chance Corey Roser was not notified. I mean, after all, Stavion started in the office of Corey Roser. I just happened to turn around Thursday evening at the budget hearings meeting and asked Corey, have you heard from Stavion lately? And then I get home the next day, Friday evening, I'm looking at the agenda for the county council and I see Eddie, Fast Eddie, as I call him, from Savion on the agenda to speak. So Saturday morning, excuse me, Corey, but I need to know this answer to this. On a Saturday morning, are you aware that Eddie's coming into town to speak? No, he said, what are you talking about? Well, then I called 2 councilmen. They had no idea that Eddie Berry is on the agenda to speak. Could I please get an explanation?
I'd say ask Sandy. Sandy's the one that has been doing their.
Yeah, Sandy.
Yeah.
Sandy provides those, and I just post what she provides. So Sandy types it up and provides it to our office.
So it would be Sandy's responsibility.
Sandy's the one who told.
Council, and also
That's up to her. Yeah.
What?
That's up to her and her council because she is the chair of the council.
Okay. And at what point was this item put on the proposed agenda, please?
She gave it to me. I don't remember what day it was. Sorry, it's been crazy up in the office all week. Like Thursday or Friday, she gave it to me in an email.
That was an additional item added to the agenda, or you got?
No, that was the agenda. No additional items. That's the way she gave it to me.
Thank you for clarifying that. And I would appreciate from the auditor's office, please, that my comments today be recorded as mine with my name and not just as a casual observer of this meeting, as one previous comment was recorded that I had made. I'm not ashamed to identify myself. I go to a lot of meetings. I know what's going on in this county for the most part because I do attend all the meetings, and I like to be credited when I have concerns. I have some questions, and this is really the final thing that I want to say. I have some questions about our usage of Baker Tilly. I'm not opposed to using the firm. I first became acquainted with Baker Tilly from attending city council meetings. I'm impressed with the amount of knowledge that they bring to the table. I'm very impressed with their rate that they charge. I think the girl Paige who's working now, I think her range is $695 an hour, perhaps. That's what caught my eye most. I'm asking about contracts that are in place that I never heard about. A contract being signed on May the 4th. And when I ask about it, well, when was that contract? Oh yeah, we have a contract. Oh, when was it signed? It was signed on May the 4th. Really? I was at that meeting. There was no contract signed. Come to find out, there was a little shenanigan going on, and there was a contract, and Paige and Baker Tilly informed us of that. I asked, how did that contract get started? I understand it started by the auditor, who was not even the auditor, back in December. And I would like some clarifications on that. If it is our plan to transfer the duties of our auditor's office, and we know the list is very lengthy, if that's our plan to have Baker Tilly do the job that the auditor should be doing, then I would propose to decrease, number one, decrease the auditor's salary, and two, decrease the number of hours being paid by her staff to work there. Because we're double paying. We're already paying for the auditor to do this job. And I'm very concerned.
May I address this? May I address this, please?
No, you may not. I have something I want to say.
Okay.
I asked the floor, and I am going to.
Okay.
Right? This is the kind of stuff that I'm sick of dealing with. I see bad things going on in this county. It seems to be stemming from the auditor's office, and we need to get a stop. And Brenda, you're one of the biggest troublemakers.
I hear you. You're just mimicking the lady behind you, and that's fine. But
Okay, we're not gonna go down
No,
this road in
we're not.
commissioner meeting.
I appreciate you letting me comment, and I just want to see some changes being made.
she wants no answer, so it's fine.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Right, I have some questions about the contract as well.
Okay.
Did the board know about this budget processing or assisting contract with Baker Tilly? They talked about it at the council meeting last week.
I was not here last week when I caught wind of all this. I wanted to talk with Annette about that. to see. I do not recall signing a contract for budget preparation, but I want to look into it.
Okay, yeah, because the engagement date said 2024 on it, so I was just curious if you knew about that. And then, along with that, if you weren't sure about it being done, because at the meeting it was said that there was a formal discussion and vote taken at the May 5th meeting. The minutes, none of the minutes reflect that. We had a couple people look through it, and Elaine had mentioned at that meeting as well, but she did not recall that ever took place. So, contract should have an appropriation in place before it's approved, or at minimum, an addition will be done after the fact. And I didn't recall seeing that. Another question related to that, is the board aware that there was also services secured for preparation of annual financial report? And if so, was there a contract for that as well?
It was a contract for what now?
No, I'm asking. There was a bill paid to Baker Tilly for $2,798.55 for prep of the annual financial report. That was billed in January. But the contract, so I don't know if there's a separate contract for that maybe you're not aware of, or if I don't know if there is a contract. I'm asking.
It was like an addendum.
I do not recall that.
So we're not sure if there's another contract out there for that process, because that was billed in January, but the contract for the budgeting didn't happen until May. And then, so that bill that was paid for the assistance with the annual financial report was actually paid out of the jail special purpose fund, which is a legal use of fund. Can be corrected. But if there was no appropriation in place, where is that money going to be paid from for that? And then my other question was if the county attorney reviewed any of those contracts, but you're not sure about the one. So I would assume if there was another one in place, that the attorney hadn't reviewed those either with Baker Tilly.
I usually review them, but there's been a couple different ones over the years, so I don't know if there's a new one. I don't recall a one,
Okay.
but I'd have to go back and look.
So just as a couple statements, I hope the board understands that the frustration that we're feeling as employees, as taxpayers, as department heads, it's coming from a lack of transparency, a lack of knowledge of what the county is engaged in services for, and spending the money unnecessarily. We used to do all that work in-house, and I understand that it's a tough job and it's a lot to do. But there were times when training was made available, but a false narrative has been put out to the public, to our employees and our department head, that we were unwilling to train and we didn't leave instructions. I'm going on record now. That is 1,000% false. We had the email communications that show that we did offer that training. We were always available. It probably wasn't until the last 6 weeks of last year that anybody came to see what we did. There's a lot to learn. There was a lot to learn. And anybody that knows us, we're passionate about our work. We prided ourselves on our work. We knew that there was a lot of work to be done. And the whole point was not to sabotage anybody, to create an issue. We knew the amount of work that needed to be done and needed to be taught. And that was the frustration on our part, that we're like, nobody wants to learn this, and we're offering it up. But there has been a false narrative put out that we were unwilling to train and that we did not leave minutes or notes or instructions. And that is absolutely 1,000%. So if somebody could look into those contracts about the budgeting process, and if there's another contract for the annual financial report, I know I would appreciate it. There were questions asked at the meeting, council meeting. If one obviously brought it up as well, we would just appreciate some answers on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye.